going on, everybody? Welcome back to KTM Sports Nation. I am your host, Kevin Tyler McGuinness, and I'm so glad to be back with you guys after an exciting championship weekend we had with UFC 324, Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett, and the Broncos versus the New England Patriots, with the Patriots unfortunately going back to the Super Bowl with the new, everybody's calling it a new dynasty already. Let's hold it off. It's a new quarterback, Drake May. It's not Tom Brady. Let's hold our horses a little bit with that. Unfortunately, Jared Stidham couldn't get the job done. The Patriots defense showed out. They only gave up 7 points against, the Broncos only scored 7 points with Jared Stidham throwing the one touchdown pass in the game. And Drake May escaping the pocket, running for the first down, and their defense and totally shutting down the Denver Broncos led them to that victory against Denver in Denver. So the Patriots are back in the Super Bowl, and they are going to be versing the Seattle Seahawks, a 2015 rematch of the iconic interception that happened with Malcolm Butler. Malcolm Butler intercepting the ball from Russell Wilson when they should have ran the ball with Marshawn Lynch. They should Pete Carroll with one of the worst calls in the history of the NFL. Now we're getting the rematch almost 11 years. Yeah, 11 years later. It was 2015. Now it's 2026. They have the Seahawks versus the Patriots again for Super Bowl 60. Sam Darnold and I think the Seahawks are the better team this come around. I think they're a 4.5 favorite on all the betting sites and apps that there is. They both obviously one of the two best teams in the NFL. The only difference is the Patriots were the number 2 seed. Seattle was the number 1 seed, but clearly it shows they were the best team in the NFC this season. Sam Darnold has totally changed his whole game since coming to Seattle. He was great with the Vikings last year, but he's really taken it up a notch with Seattle, bringing another resume. He has 30 wins. Another story about the Jets. Jets are a disaster. That's the way it is for, God only knows how long it's going to be. But the Patriots and the Seahawks, like I said, well-deserved teams in the Super Bowl. I still believe the Patriots still had the weakest schedule, but they had to win the games they had to win, and they're in the Super Bowl. Tom Brady supposedly will be attending the Super Bowl 60 against, when the Patriots play the Seahawks. It's going to be a very highly anticipated rematch. I hope the Seahawks get it done. They're the favorites. Sam Darnold and Njigba have an amazing connection. He's the best wide receiver in football this season. Kenneth Walker has been absolutely insane for the Seattle Seahawks since Charbonnet went down. He's been absolutely unbelievable. So Kenneth Walker, they have an unbelievable run game when it comes to the Seattle Seahawks. That line completely protects, and Sam Darnold has all the time in the world to pick the Patriots defense. Just a matter if the Patriots D-line can get through. I still think it's going to be a close game. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game, actually, even though Seattle's defense is the best in the NFL, in my opinion, and the best in the AFC is the Patriots. That's besides the Broncos, it was the Patriots, I think, in the AFC. So you got two amazing defenses. You got two quarterbacks that could put up a lot of points. The Patriots have plenty of weapons themselves. They have Stephon Diggs, who's been a great wide receiver for the New England Patriots this season. They have Hunter Henry as tight end. Hunter Henry has totally taken his level as a player way up since he's been a Patriot, and Drake May likes throwing the ball to him. They like giving the ball to Stevenson in the run game. They have a great, offense, the Patriots. Drake May could also escape the pocket and run. Sam Darnold likes to escape the pocket, run and throw. I mean, he's not more of a scramble, run, out of the pocket type quarterback for like a 10 plus, 15 plus yard gain. But Drake May will do that. He's very explosive with the legs. He has I think he has the most 20 plus yard QB runs in the NFL. So that's another weapon that he could use against the Seattle Seahawks. So I'm hoping that the Patriots will lose against the Seattle Seahawks. It will not be an easy game because the Patriots can't be underestimated. And Drake May has been phenomenal. Like I said, Matthew Stafford's out. Drake May is still in. I still think Matthew Stafford gets the NFL MVP. But if Matthew Stafford did not have the season that Drake May had, Drake May will be the NFL MVP of the season. It's just the stats show it. He's been absolutely sensational for the New England Patriots. So I'm hoping Seattle pulls off the victory. I'm going with 28-24, 31-28, high-scoring game between the Seahawks and the Patriots, with the Seahawks coming out on top and Sam Darnold winning his first Super Bowl with the Seattle Seahawks after, a lot of people said with the Jets, but it is the Jets, when he started his career, that he was a bust and he was never going to be the best quarterback, never going to be the quarterback that he is now. I mean, he's just unbelievable with the Seattle Seahawks. So I think if they do win, I believe he will get the Super Bowl MVP, and I believe it's either Sam Darnold will get the MVP or it'll be Njigba for the wide receiver of the Seattle Seahawks getting the MVP. So we'll see. If the Patriots win, Drake May, I would think, would get the MVP unless a standout defensive player comes out and totally does a crazy plays during the game against the Seattle Seahawks. So we'll see what happens when it comes to that. But I think it's going to be an offensive shootout. I think whoever gets the ball last could definitely win the game. It's going to be an exciting Super Bowl. I have the Seahawks, like I said, winning this game, but it'll be very, very close. It's going to come down to the last drive, I believe. Could come down to a field goal at the end of the game. So we'll see what happens. You got two very still young quarterbacks, Drake May and Sam Darnold. They could definitely, drive the ball down the field. They're both phenomenal quarterbacks. Sam Darnold was absolutely sensational against, the Los Angeles Rams, not turning over the ball, 3 touchdowns or 4 passing touchdowns, I believe, against the Los Angeles Rams to Cooper Kupp and Njigba a couple of times. He was absolutely sensational. He made one amazing throw to Njigba for about 40 plus yards in the middle of the field between the safety and a corner, and it was perfect right in the middle of both of those players, and they went on to score a touchdown with Njigba in the back left of the end zone, and it was pretty much the Rams had to get a stop, and they just couldn't get it done. Wanted the Rams to win the Super Bowl. It was a very close game. Seattle's defense had to show up against the Los Angeles Rams. Matthew Stafford was right at the doorstep of the touchdown of the goal line. They stopped him 4 straight times, and the Seahawks came out on top, and they're an amazing team at home. So I'm hoping Seattle could pull it off against the Patriots, because people are going to say if the Patriots do win the Super Bowl, it's going to be a start of another dynasty. Because Drake May will have the 1 Super Bowl, and he's very young. So they have the great coaching staff. The franchise is unbelievable. They just know how to win. It's the Patriots. The Patriots are just unbelievable at winning when it matters most. And Drake May, let's see. I mean, he could do it. Unfortunately, he can do it. Let's go Seahawks. I hope Seattle wins, but we will see. Like I said, Drake May is very good. I'm picking Seattle to win this game because it is the Patriots, and I believe half of America, or more than half of America, is rooting for the Seattle Seahawks to beat the New England Patriots. It will be a very close game. It's going to come down to the right coaching adjustments. Who running backs could be a big factor in this game, who could run on each other's D lines. It's going to come down to, most importantly, the quarterback play. I believe whoever has the most turnovers between the two quarterbacks when it comes to fumbles or interceptions is going to determine who is going to win this game. Um, I'm curious. Let me look it up. What's the touchdown to interception ratio difference between Drake May and Sam Darnold? I believe Drake May might have less interceptions, but I'm going to double check. Drake May has a total of 31 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. That's pretty good. He's had a phenomenal season, like I said. He would be the MVP if there was no Matthew Stafford. So we will see when it comes to this game. Definitely a big difference. Sam Darnold only had 25 touchdowns, 14 interceptions. He did throw for 4,000 yards. So did Drake May. Drake May had a better season. You know, he had 300 more yards, 4,300 yards of 4,000 yards. Drake May had a phenomenal season. I hope he doesn't continue it and win the Super Bowl for New England. So let's go Seattle. Let's go Seattle. Let's go Seattle. It's going to be a very close game, though. Very close game. Like I said, these teams have been two of the best teams this whole season. We'll see what happens when it comes to who wins the Super Bowl. It's going to be very, very, very close. Let's see what you guys are saying in the comments. Let's go Seahawks. Let's go Seahawks. Bo Nix wasn't hurt. It would have been a rematch of the 2014 Super Bowl. I agree. I agree because I think, Bo Nix is definitely a better quarterback than Jarrett Stidham. Jarrett Stidham was not good the second half of that game. He was good in the first half, and then the snow was a big factor. You couldn't really throw the ball in that weather, but still, when Jarrett Stidham had to be the guy in order for Denver Broncos to win that game. So we will see when it comes to Seattle pulling off a great Super Bowl, hopefully, against the New England Patriots, with Sam Darnold totally torching that New England Patriots defense. I'm only hoping for that, but the Patriots somehow find a way to win. It's just remarkable. 20 plus years of winning AFC championship games, 6 Super Bowls with Tom Brady. Now going back to the Super Bowl after a couple years of rebuild, now with the new quarterback, Drake May, who's been absolutely phenomenal. So we will see. Drake May is not overrated. I will not say he's overrated. He is an NFL MVP candidate. He has been absolutely phenomenal with the New England Patriots. He's been clutch. He's won the games that mattered when it need to win. He's won them. So I believe Sam Darnold will outperform him and win the Super Bowl and get the MVP in the end of Super Bowl 60. So that's my take on the Seahawks versus the Patriots. So, I believe it's going to be a matter of the new Patriots dynasty era versus the Seahawks seeking redemption. That's going to be pretty much the caption for the Super Bowl. Can the Seahawks bounce back and beat the Patriots this time after losing such a devastating loss years ago with a different team, of course. Tom Brady isn't playing for the Patriots, but Drake May is phenomenal, like I said. But can they bounce back and beat the New England Patriots this time around with a new coach, new quarterback, new line? It's just a whole different team, but let's hope Seattle does it. I'm hoping Seattle pulls it off because I do not want to see the Patriots win another Super Bowl, and the dynasty talks will begin for the New England Patriots. Now, I spoke about UFC 324. You got, like I said, Justin Gaethje put an absolute pummeling on Paddy Pimblett Saturday night. He totally, UFC 324, he totally destroyed him. I expected to be a little closer, honestly. I thought Paddy would do a little bit better against Justin, but to my opinion, Justin was a unanimous winner. Easily. Clearly deserved the interim championship in that fight. He totally rocked Paddy, where I got to give Paddy credit, though. He stood the whole entire fight besides, 2 times. He didn't allow himself to get knocked out. He lasted the whole war with Justin Gaethje, who is, to me, the hardest thrower, hardest puncher in the UFC easily. He absolutely destroyed Paddy Pimblett, and now he is He is the interim championship, and now Dana White just confirmed after Justin Gaethje beat Paddy Pimblett for the interim lightweight title. He'll be fighting Ilia Topuria for the undisputed lightweight championship because Ilia Topuria is the lightweight champion, and they will have to fight for who is the undisputed lightweight champion later on this year. I'm hoping it'll be at the White House. If I don't think it'll be before the White House, I think it's going to be in June because it's going to be hard to squeeze in if they want to do such. I believe this fight deserves to be in the White House. I don't know if it's going to be a main event fight, but Ilia Topuria is still not sure when he's coming back. Hopefully he's back for the White House. He's dealing with a lot of family problems, supposedly. So let's hope Topuria comes back and wins against Justin Gaethje. Even though I love Justin Gaethje, he's one of my favorite fighters. He is Justin the highlight Gaethje for a reason because he is a knockout artist. Ilia Topuria is a knockout artist too. Ilia Topuria is one of my favorite fighters now. He is a rising star. He is the star of the UFC right now. He's just knocking out legends. Like I said, he knocked out Alexander Volkanovski. He knocked out Max Holloway. He knocked out Charles Oliveira. Clean. These guys went to sleep. They totally. And Max Holloway's never been knocked out by anybody or dropped on. He never got knocked out by anybody by Ilia Topuria until Ilia Topuria knocked him out. I believe Ilia Topuria. I want him to win. I love Justin Gaethje, but I like Ilia Topuria more. I believe Ilia Topuria will knock out Justin Gaethje, and everybody on DraftKings and all these other betting sites are picking Ilia Topuria by plus 600, I believe, was the last time I checked. Plus 600 to plus 700, which is a huge. I'm sorry, not plus 600, plus 700. Minus 600, minus 700, which is a huge favorite. Huge favorite going into a championship fight. Justin Gaethje is a plus 400, 500, which is, if you're a betting man and if you want to win big money, you bet your money on Justin Gaethje, you're going to win big. But I think Ilia Topuria puts him to sleep. Ilia Topuria is the best boxer in the UFC besides Justin Gaethje. I would have to say Justin Gaethje is probably the second best boxer in the UFC. Before Justin Gaethje and Ilia Topuria, I would think Conor was the best boxer, best left hand in the history of the UFC when in his prime. But as of right now, for this fight, Ilia Topuria over Justin Gaethje will be an unbelievable fight. I don't think it'll be too many wrestling, ground and pound type events in that fight. I think it's going to be straight up boxing, who can knock each other out. It's going to be an amazing, amazing fight. They both have very similar styles. They're both boxers, like I said. Gaethje likes to put pressure on his opponents, and Topuria also puts pressure on you. But I think Ilia Topuria has a way better skill set, and his stand-up is a lot more boxing, a lot more technique than Gaethje, because Gaethje could throw wild once in a while. You see it against Paddy. He missed a couple of swings. Ilia Topuria is counter-punching. I think if he catches him, he's done. That's another reason the counter-punching from Ilia Topuria could definitely rock Justin Gaethje. He's the hardest-throwing puncher in the UFC. He totally knocked out these legends, like I mentioned. 37 years old, though, Justin Gaethje, to be the interim champion is very impressive for the lightweight division. The lightweight division is stacked. It's always been stacked, with amazing fighters. But for him to be the interim champion at his age, you got to give him props. He's one of the best boxers, one of the best brawlers. He's just the highlight of the UFC. He's been like that for many, many years. It's going to draw major attention, this fight, obviously. Everybody's going to be watching this fight. If you love the UFC, you will be watching this fight between Ilia Topuria and Justin Gaethje. The question is if it's going to be at the White House or if it's going to be another card before it. June is a long way away from now, but I don't think they will schedule that fight before the White House, because if Ilia Topuria if Dana White wants Ilia Topuria to fight at the White House, it's going to be hard if you schedule him around April and May, and then bounce right back for June. It's going to be highly unlikely. I mean, Volkanovski's done it, but he got knocked out by Islam beat him. Topuria beat him. So I highly suggest that you should have a full camp, for this fight. I think it's going to be at the White House. Like I said, I think Dana White is also, he said it on Complex and many other famous companies and podcasts. He's saying that, they're making the card for the UFC White House for this fight. I can't wait to see what he has up his sleeve. I believe Jon Jones and Alex Pereira will be on that. Ilia Topuria will be on it. Justin Gaethje will be on it. Chandler will be on it. Might not be against Conor. I don't think it's going to be against Conor at this point because Dana White keeps denying it. Conor will be on it. I 100% believe Conor will be on it because I believe he is absolutely locked in to be on the White House. We'll see, though. I'm hoping. It's been 5 years. It's been a long time since we've seen him in the octagon. So we will see. We will see. I just want to see Jon Jones beat Alex Pereira. I think Tom Aspinall will be stripped of this belt if he doesn't come back soon before the White House, because I think Dana White's going to strip him of his belt and they'll just make that the title fight. Alex Pereira versus Jon Jones for the heavyweight championship. It'll be obviously it's going to be one of the biggest fights in the history of UFC. It'll be one of the greatest fights ever. But like I said, Ilia Topuria, very strong favorite against Justin Gaethje. Ilia Topuria is undefeated, 17-0. He is definitely not an underdog in this fight. Justin Gaethje is a huge underdog. Plus 500 is insane underdog. Which is rightfully so. I believe Ilia Topuria is going to win this fight. He is like I said, one of the most technical, complete fighters in the UFC. Never really had to see him go to the ground as much. He just knocks people out, and once he connects, it's over. He's just unbelievable power behind his punches. Hoping to see this at the White House. If not, probably not going to see Ilia fight at the White House, because if it's before it, you have to do it either in March, April, or May, and June is the White House. So June 14th is the rumored date that President Donald Trump has come out and said that he wants it to be on that date for the UFC White House. It's going to be one of the biggest events in the history of fighting, not just for the UFC, but for fighting in general. It's going to be one of the biggest events. So we'll see when it comes to that. Now that I talked about UFC and other aspects of the UFC, like I mentioned, Conor McGregor, he is in return camp. He's in camp to come back for the UFC. He said he is not coming back as 85%, 90%, not 95%, 100% Conor McGregor. He's dropping training footage all over his social media. He said he's intensifying camp. He's dead serious about fighting on the White House, it looks like, because he's constantly posting about it. He's using Title Sport to promote him on the White House on ads and social media. So we'll see. I'm hoping that this is one of my favorite fighters. He is my favorite fighter of all time. Because in his prime, he was absolutely one of the most. He was a killer. He just killed people. Dustin Poirier. He beat Eddie Alvarez. He beat Jose Aldo in 13 seconds. Probably the greatest knockout upset in the history of the UFC. Easily. 13 seconds. He was in Jose Aldo's head, obviously, the whole entire build-up for that fight. So I want to see Conor McGregor come back as Conor McGregor of old, because I want to see him come back. And if he does, whoever he fights at the White House and wins, I believe he's going to get a title shot because he is the #1 draw in the UFC. Let's be honest. Conor McGregor had He has I think 4 or 5 of the top 10, maybe more than that, of the greatest numbers when it comes to pay-per-views for fights. Let's just go with boxing in general. Conor versus McGregor is one of the most highest watched fights in the history of fighting. And then you got Conor and Nate Diaz 1, Nate Diaz 2. Conor versus Khabib is probably the craziest buildup in the history of fighting, between the animosity between both sides. They constantly hated each other. They still hate each other to this day. They constantly go back and forth on social media, tearing each other up. Um, Conor McGregor is the biggest draw in the history of the UFC. Maybe you could say he's the biggest draw in the history of fighting. It's time for him to come back and finally win, and in fashion. If he comes out, I hope he comes out and wins in the first round knockout. I believe the opponent will not be Michael Chandler. I think it will be either Nate Diaz or some other person, that's shocking person. It could be Paddy Pimblett. I mean, that would be insane if they did that fight, because I would be a little worried against Paddy, because Paddy's a warrior and he's still amazing, even though he lost to Justin Gaethje. The reason why I say Paddy Pimblett, Ariel Helwani mentioned that on his podcast. He's one of the best podcasts, my opinion, in the all of podcasts and sports. I think he's phenomenal. The reason why I understand why he mentioned Paddy Pimblett is because Justin Gaethje, 37 years old, same age as Conor. They just fought Paddy Pimblett and Justin Gaethje, and Justin Gaethje's 37, Conor's 37 years old. I believe Conor McGregor's left hand could maybe put Paddy Pimblett to sleep, because his left hand is the best left hand in the history of the UFC, in my opinion, ever. That left hand is absolutely killer. If Conor McGregor can catch Paddy Pimblett, he could totally put him to sleep. I'm looking at his training footage, like I said, on his social media. He's serious about fighting on the White House. He's fighting sparring partners. His coach is clearly next to him, coaching him up. His speed looks like he's getting faster, which is very good to see, because that was a big thing for his speed is a huge thing when it comes to his fighting, because he is more of a boxer than a wrestler. He has amazing knockout power. Conor McGregor is the star of the UFC still. I don't care what anybody says. If he's on television, people call him a flake because he hasn't fought in 5 years. I mean, whatever. It is what it is. He broke his toe last year. I think he would have fought last year if he didn't break his toe. Fighting with the broken toe is very hard in the UFC, because you need it to kick, need to stand right. It was black and blue. It is what it is, but I think he is 100% serious, because he is constantly posting about fighting, sparring people. I just think he's serious this time. I'm 100% sure that he is going to fight, because he is promoting it like crazy. And national television, I believe this will be on CBS and Paramount Plus. He's being promoted all over New York City. Just in New York City, there's a poster of him. I know he is the #1 draw for the UFC, and it could be for entertainment purposes, but still, he is constantly reminding people he is fighting on the card. Conor McGregor will be on the card. I'm certain. He is the greatest entertainer in the history of the UFC when it comes to mic presence. He knows how to get in the opponent's head. He knows how to knock people out that are his opponents. It's time for him to come back and put a stamp back on the company that, through him, my opinion, through him and Ronda Rousey and Jon Jones, those three were the greatest draws and still are the greatest draws. Maybe not Ronda anymore, because Ronda's never coming back, honestly. But Jon Jones and Conor are the two of the greatest draws. Conor McGregor, I believe, is the greatest draw in the history of the UFC. I think he's serious. He's enthusiastic in the video. He says, I'm 100% locked in. He's 100% locked in. Um, he's sparring. He wants to be ready. He said he wants to come back more ready than his last fight, which unfortunately was a sad ending, breaking his foot, snapping his leg in 2021 against Dustin Poirier in their third fight. Who knows? Maybe you have Conor versus Dustin Poirier at the White House. Maybe that's the fight that nobody saw coming. Because I still believe it's 1-1, even though he snapped his leg. It's not a real win. It should have been a doctor stoppage. I don't know why they gave the win. I don't know why he's considered the win for Dustin Poirier. To when he beat Conor, that they're saying he beat Conor McGregor the third fight. I don't believe it. He beat him the second fight. He knocked him out. It's a clear win for Dustin Poirier. But Conor McGregor is serious about fighting on the White House card. He's raising questions, and I believe he's talking more and more about just being ready for this, because I think if he loses this fight, he's never going to fight again. He'll retire. I think if he doesn't win at the White House, it'll be the end of Conor McGregor. But if he wins, I think he gets a title shot. No matter if he hasn't fought in 5-10 years, he will draw the numbers, and Dana White and him are best friends, and Dana White will not say no if he goes out and knocks out whoever he's fighting, whether it's Nate Diaz, whether it's Paddy Pimblett, whether it's Dustin Poirier. For some reason Dustin wants to fight him again. We'll see. I hope to see him fight again. He is the biggest draw in the history of the UFC. Like I said, the UFC needs him back, honestly, because I think he's the biggest draw in the history of the UFC. McGregor also mentioned that there is negotiations going around with Dana White, I think in February, with negotiating a new contract, which is very positive news, because if he's talking about contract negotiations, then he is serious about fighting on the White House and continue to fight for the UFC if he's talking about negotiations. So that's between him and Dana White. He's insisting on speaking with him, talking with him, getting together with him, and hopefully committing to the UFC for more than just 2 fights that are left on his contract. He did say that his contract is void because, there's pay-per-views on his contract. Now pay-per-views are over. No more pay-per-views ever for the history of the UFC, and they'll be now streamed on Paramount Plus, which is, to me, is one of the best things, definitely the best things UFC's ever done. We'll see. It's time for him to come back, because everybody's watching it. End of story. Everybody's watching it. Even people that say, I'm not watching it. He's a flake. 5 years. I haven't seen him. They're watching him because he is, like I said, the number 1 draw in the history of the UFC. Number 1, easily. Dana White will have him back if he's serious. End of story. He's the biggest draw commercially for the UFC ever, my opinion. He's hyped in his training footage, constantly talking about 100% being ready for his return. His 18-month suspension will be over in March because of a failed drug test in 2024. Because he was taking steroids, I believe, when he was trying to recover from that leg injury as quickly as possible. And, it came out, a couple months ago that that's why he wasn't fighting, I guess, because he had an 18-month suspension for, that. And his suspension will be over in March of 2026, which is only 2 months away. So I'm excited to see him come back and shape up the UFC once again, and hopefully win and get a title shot, because I want the Mac to be back. It's time. It's time for him to win. So we'll see when it comes to Conor McGregor coming back to the UFC and fighting at the White House. I believe he will be there. I believe him and Dana White have been talking, like Dana White's been saying recently. They've been talking on fighting on that card and hopefully fighting more after and later on this year and next year, and however long he wants to fight, it's up to him. So we'll see what happens when it comes in. So I want to talk about NBA biggest talk right now with the trade deadline coming up. February 5th is the trade deadline for the NBA. And one of the biggest name easily for the trade deadline is Giannis Antetokounmpo. The two-time MVP has been getting aggressive offers after stating that he is ready to move on from the Milwaukee Bucks. The New York Knicks are, and then hopefully he goes to the New York Knicks because that would be amazing, and I am a New York Knicks fan. Going to the New York Knicks is a possible landing spot for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Miami Heat were also considered. Believe the Atlanta Hawks are also considered. Some reason the Lakers are considered. I don't think that's going to happen because I think the Lakers have a good team as is, and they don't need him. I think the Knicks, unless they want to build around Luka, because Luka's been absolutely phenomenal this season. Luka, I think, could be the NBA MVP. He's been absolutely insane. 40, 30 points a night the last 7-8 games. He did get hurt, unfortunately, against the Cleveland Cavaliers last game, so hopefully it's not too serious. Let's hope he's okay. But like I said, Giannis to the Knicks, man, that would be insane. Giannis to the Knicks would definitely make. I think the Knicks are already NBA Finals candidates. They would definitely be championship favorites for sure if they get Giannis. It depends. I wouldn't want to give away Karl Anthony Towns, but maybe you could give away Anunoby. Nah, I would give away Bridges. Mikal Bridges. I would give away Mikal Bridges for, Giannis. And then you have, imagine having Jalen Brunson, Giannis, Karl Anthony Towns, Anunoby, and, all the other players the Knicks have that have been great role players this season. The Bucks maybe might have to wait for, blockbuster return package if they really want to trade him off. They might want a lot. I don't think the Knicks should give up too much for him. I think Bridges I think it might have to be more than Bridges. The Post has been slamming Karl Anthony Towns like yesterday or today, I believe. They were slamming him, saying that he could be on his way out. I don't know why. I think Karl Anthony Towns fits great with the Knicks. I know he's been struggling. The Knicks are still top 4 best team in the East. I think if they get Giannis and they have Towns and they have Brunson, I think they'll win the East. It'll be the number 1 seed. Because I believe they will catch up to Detroit. Detroit has been insane this season. Detroit has been an unbelievable role this season. But the Knicks with Giannis, they could definitely go to the finals. They could definitely win the East. They could definitely be the number 1 seed in the East. It will totally reshape the whole landscape of the NBA if Giannis comes to New York. Eastern Conference would be very nervous of the New York Knicks and the West if Giannis comes to New York, because it will open the whole floor up for Giannis to drive down the paint. And then you have Jalen Brunson. He could either drive, he could pull up from 3. Karl Anthony Towns could shoot from 3. He could open all these other role players for the Knicks if they get Giannis, which would be absolutely huge. It would be absolutely huge if the Knicks had that weapon, him driving down the paint. I mean, you have Towns who could drive down the paint too, but not like Giannis. Giannis is a force. I mean, I would say besides LeBron James, Giannis is probably the most feared guy coming at you, driving down the paint, slamming it on you. Giannis is definitely would be insane addition to the Knicks, and they could definitely make an insane run to the NBA Finals. They were very close to winning making it to the finals last season. If it wasn't for Halliburton, but they don't have to worry about Halliburton. He has torn Achilles. He's out for the season. Indiana is not the same team without him. Um, so they don't have to worry about the Pacers. So I believe the only team the Knicks would have to worry about with Giannis on their side is Boston or Detroit, because those are the two teams that are right behind him is Boston, and in front of him is Detroit. They keep bouncing up and down through the standings, so between Boston and the Knicks, it's just back and forth right now. Jaylen Brown has been absolutely phenomenal for the Boston Celtics as of late. But if the Knicks have Giannis, they definitely could be a threat to the NBA. It would be a major, major, major asset for the Knicks, and the Garden will be rocking when it comes to playoff basketball. Having him on the Knicks would be insane. But also, having Giannis on Golden State, which is another team that I'm looking at, could be in play because they've always been rumored to sneak and try to grab Giannis. Can you imagine Steph Curry and Giannis Antetokounmpo on the same team? It would be crazy too. Because you got Giannis driving down the paint, like I said, because he's not a spot-up shooter. He's just a guy who throws it down, rebounds, and he just likes to drive and attack the rim. And then you kick it out to Steph Curry on the three-point line. Even though they had a huge loss with Jimmy Butler now out for the season, tearing his ACL, that's a huge loss for the Golden State Warriors. And, definitely picking up Giannis on Golden State would be absolutely huge, huge for the Warriors in the West. It would definitely boost their chances of making a deep run into the postseason. Even though I am not a Golden State fan, they could very well make a deep run with Giannis and Steph Curry, because Steph Curry is very good, arguably the greatest point guard in the history of the NBA. I would say between him and Magic, the two of the best point guards to ever play in the history of the NBA. Magic, the greatest distributor of point guard passing in the history of the NBA. Steph Curry, the greatest shooter to ever play basketball ever. He totally changed the game and the landscape with a three-point shooting in the NBA. Steph Curry is changed the whole game. Three-point shooting. Everybody shoots threes now. If you watch the games, it used to be a fadeaway jump shot, inside, the three-point line, like Kobe Bryant and Carmelo Anthony, LeBron James, many other players, Michael Jordan. When Steph Curry changed the game, stepping behind the three, shooting from half court, and making it consistently. And also, like I said, having a guy that could shoot like that, and then you have to run out to the three-point line, and he fakes it and passes it to Giannis in the paint, scary. It's scary. But, like I said, the Knicks getting Giannis, they should be title favorites easily in the East. It would totally, totally upgrade them to championship favorites easily, because I think they're already, honestly, finals favorites. But if they get Giannis, I think they have to make it to the finals. If they do not make it to the finals, it would be a disappointment with Giannis. Like I said, you have three of the best basketball players in the league when they're on form. Jalen Brunson is the best point guard in the East. Easily. Then you got Towns, if he's on, unbelievable. Giannis is unreal, as like I said. Those three would absolutely could and can carry you to a championship and finally bring a championship to New York. It's been way too long since the Knicks have won a championship. I believe it's since the 70s. It's like 50 years. The Jets, 60 years. It's time for the Knicks to get a championship. I believe with a move by picking up Giannis at the trade deadline, they could very easily make it to the NBA Finals and could win the NBA championship, because this guy is that good. His numbers are insane. I'm pulling up his numbers right now. He is one of the best basketball players in the NBA. Right now, he's sidelined because he's got a little injury, but when he comes back, he could have played his last game with the Milwaukee Bucks. But his numbers are 28 points, 64% from the field goal percentage. He's got 10 rebounds and 5 assists. Those are insane numbers. I mean, that's star-studded numbers. He is a star. He is an all-star. He is unreal. 28 points, 10 and 5. I mean, it's phenomenal. Phenomenal numbers. He's constantly been a 30-point scorer since 2016. Every year, 28, 30, 31, 29, 28, 29, 27, 27. Like I said, and then 2016 he had 23, but he was still very young at the time. So ever since 10 years, a 10-year run of consistent 26 or more points for Giannis Antetokounmpo. This guy is a stud when it comes to driving to the basket. He's not an unbelievable three-point shooter. He has gotten better at his three-point shooting, though, this season. He's shooting 39% from three, which is pretty good for him. Before that, he was absolutely atrocious from three. 22%, 25%, 27%, constantly in the 20s. So shooting 39% from the three is definitely a huge upgrade. If that continues to go up, he will be absolutely insane. Nobody's stopping him because his size and the way he could just rock the rim. The guy is absolutely unbelievable. He is a specimen. He is the Greek freak for a reason. He is unbelievable. Definitely one of the best basketball players, like I said, in the league. 28, 10, and 6. Guy is absolutely phenomenal. We will see. Hopefully the Knicks get him. He will be definitely pushing them to championship candidate type team. They're unreal. Yeah. So, Miami Heat, they have a way of getting players like this too. LeBron James, I mean, one of the craziest pickups in the history of the NBA. LeBron James to the Miami Heat. The decision, one of the greatest decision, interview in the history of the NBA, because nobody saw LeBron going to Miami at the time with Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh. That was one of the most insane moments in the history of basketball. Really, originally it wasn't supposed to be Chris Bosh. It was supposed to be Carmelo Anthony. So can you imagine in 2010 or 2010-11 having LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and Carmelo Anthony in their prime? I mean, it's a championship team every year because Carmelo Anthony is way better than Chris Bosh. Chris Bosh is a better defender, but having those those three guys on the same team, that would have been not one, not two, not three for sure, not four, not five, not six, not seven, not eight. Like LeBron said, it'd be championship after championship because Carmelo Anthony is way better than Chris Bosh. But it is what it is. They got the team they got. They were unbelievable. Miami Heat, back-to-back champions, in 2012, in 2013. Miami Heat was unbelievable. They had Mike Miller. They had Shane Battier, Mario Chalmers. That team was absolutely stacked. So they have a legacy of winning. And Pat Riley is an unbelievable CEO, GM, of president. I think he's pretty much the head of everything in Miami, if I believe. Eric Spoelstra, one of the best coaches in the NBA ever, for sure. Pat Riley just knows how to establish a franchise and draw players to a franchise. Just constantly knows how to have a mindset of winning. So Giannis could very well go to the Miami Heat. I believe that's the number 2 contender because they just have a way of winning. So having Giannis on that team and whoever else they decide to pick up, because Miami is very sneaky and they know how to get good players. It's also a rumor that Miami Heat want Ja Morant. John Morant and Giannis in Miami would be insane. If John Morant could keep his head on straight, because he's got legal problems. Sometimes he's a mess, but when he plays and he's focused, he's one of the best point guards in the NBA, and he could rock the rim. He could shoot. He could distribute the ball to Giannis, and those two would be absolutely insane in Miami if that were to happen. But these are big ifs. Like I said, I think the Knicks are the best option for Giannis Antetokounmpo. It would be an insane pickup for the Knicks to get him. They would be instant NBA title favorites. So that's what I think is going to happen. I think he's going to be a Knick because he's asking out of Milwaukee, and I don't think they're saying no because he's been committed to that franchise for many, many years. Haven't won anything. Many Eastern Conference finals and Eastern Conference playoff appearances. He's been with that team since 2013-14. I think that's a long time for his type of caliber to constantly keep losing. I believe it's time for him to be on a better team, championship team. I think the Knicks would be good for him. So what are you guys saying? Just want to thank you guys for joining on Instagram, YouTube. Thank you for joining. Let's see what you guys have to say in the comments. Greatest entertainer. He did win a ring. He did win a ring, but it was a fluke ring. Giannis did win a ring, but there was no good team in the East, in my opinion. At that time, I think there was way better teams that could have beat the Milwaukee Bucks at the time. If it wasn't Durant stepping on the line, stepping on the line, they would have beat the Bucks. You didn't have to worry about Kawhi Leonard on Toronto. Kawhi Leonard owns him. When they played and Kawhi Leonard won the championship with Toronto that year, he totally shut down Giannis, and Kawhi hasn't been the same player. Constant knee problems. So that's what I think. That was a fluke year. They had to play the Phoenix Suns in the NBA championship. I mean, that was like one of the worst finals to watch. Milwaukee Bucks versus Phoenix. I wanted Chris Paul to get his ring. Was rooting for Phoenix and Devin Booker to get that NBA championship for Chris Paul. What else? Easy, this guy. Kawhi doesn't have a chance because he's not the same player. Kawhi is not the same player that he once was. Too many knee problems. He hasn't been 100% healthy in a very long time since they pretty much since he won the championship with the Toronto Raptors. Giannis will be a Hall of Famer. I agree because he's constantly a 28, 29, 30 point scorer with 10 rebounds, 5, 6, 7, 8 assists. Giannis has got to keep it going. He's still young. I think he will be a Hall of Famer. Would have to be more than just Bridges. I agree. I think the Knicks would have to give up a little bit more to get him, but they can't give away Towns and Towns. They can't give away Towns. I think if they give away Towns, I mean, Giannis and Brunson are great. Don't get me wrong. I mean, Towns and Brunson are great, but having Giannis, replace Towns, it'd be great. Don't get me wrong, but I think we need to keep Towns in order for us to make that championship push, because Towns can only to drive to the basket, he could also shoot the three ball. One of the best big men three ball shooters in the NBA for sure. I don't want to definitely don't want to get rid of Jordan Clarkson. Jordan Clarkson he's a phenomenal six-man for sure. I think he was the best six-man pickup since J.R. Smith was on the Knicks, because he could light it up from on the bench. When he's on, he's on. But if we have to trade away Jordan Clarkson and Miles and Bridges for Giannis, make the trade. I don't care. If we get Giannis and we keep Towns and we have Brunson, we could win the championship. We could go to the finals. We have a very high chance to go to the finals. And I know some of you that are watching that I know are Boston Celtics fans. You'd be very worried. You should be very worried if we get Giannis, because to me it's the best three in the East easily. Brunson, Giannis, Towns. That would be an insane, insane trio. Let's go, Knicks, man. It's time. It's time. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. It's time to bring a championship to New York. Too long. I wanted it with Melo. But now we have it with Brunson. Brunson, we can't waste his unbelievable playing, what he's done for the Knicks. We have to win a championship, and we can win the championship. Giannis, top 10 power forward of all time. Yep, I agree. Definitely. Definitely top 10 power forward of all time, for sure. What else? 34-7 Seahawks. I'd love to see that, but I think it's going to be way closer than that. The only reason why it would be a blowout, like I mentioned, the Seahawks defense is very good. And what they did against San Francisco, in the NFC divisional game, and with the way they set that game off, the starting of that game with Rashid running that kickoff return in the beginning of the game for a touchdown totally set the tone for that game. And the crowd was into it. It was an earthquake in that game. The noise-wise, it was like an earthquake. They said it was comparing it to an earthquake. They set the tone. Defense could definitely shut down the Patriots. If they perform the same way against San Francisco, the Patriots do not have a chance. Hopefully they totally annihilate the Patriots. I'm hoping for it, because the Patriots need to lose. To me, like I said, they had the easiest schedule this season. So it's time for Sam Darnold, to light them up. And we'll see what happens when it comes to the Super Bowl 60, the 60th anniversary of Super Bowl in the NFL, between a famous rematch. You're going to have many rematches. You're going to have the Patriots versus the Seahawks, Patriots versus Rams. They've both versed in the Super Bowl, but we have the Patriots and the Seahawks in the Super Bowl. I hope the Patriots lose, because they're from Massachusetts, close enough to Boston. They're the Patriots. They're the Patriots. They're the Patriots. Let's go Seattle. Sam Darnold hopefully has the game of his life, and he will be the only quarterback out of that draft class, hard to believe, between Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, and him, and I think Lamar Jackson, I believe, was in that draft, to win a Super Bowl. And Josh Allen and Lamar, the MVPs, quarterbacks, he would be the only guy to win a Super Bowl. What that just shows, like I've said, Josh Allen is a choke. Lamar's a choke when it matters. Sam Darnold, he's gotten to the Super Bowl, so he's way ahead of both of those guys. If he wins a Super Bowl, his legacy will be better than both those guys, because he has won the big game. And if he performs well, it'll stand out even more. So we'll see when it comes to Super Bowl 60. And Conor McGregor coming back. Justin Gaethje versus Ilia. Giannis, maybe and hopefully, coming to New York to join the New York Knicks. Not the Brooklyn Nets, the New York Knicks. So I just want to thank you all for joining tonight. It's been a crazy sports week when it comes to different events, when it comes to fighting, NBA, and football. I can't wait to see what happens, for the Super Bowl. Um, it's going to be an amazing game. I would think. I think it's going to be a close game. Hopefully, the Seahawks win. Let's go Seattle. Knock off the Patriots. And let's see around that time if Giannis is a New York Knick. So just want to thank you all for joining. And we'll see you next week. Let's go.